Hey bakers, it's Heather from bostongirlbakes.com, and in this quick baking video today, I'm going to show you how to blind bake or par bake your pie crust. If you're making a no-bake pie, you want to fully bake your pie crust because the filling is going to go into the pie crust and then you're going to be chilling it. It's no longer going into the oven. So you need a fully baked pie crust. Or if you're making a pie that has like a creamy custard filling, like a pumpkin pie, you need to give that pie crust a bit of a head start in the oven. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a soggy bottom, and nobody likes a soggy bottom. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to blind bake your pie crust, and I'm going to give you a few options to use for pie weights. Pie weights are just something simple that is going to weight down the pie crust so it doesn't puff up in the oven and keep it from shrinking down into the pie plate. And I'm going to guess you have a couple of these pie weight options in your kitchen right now. So let's get started. Let me show you how to blind bake your pie crust. To start with blind baking the pie crust, I have it rolled out and crimped here into my pie plate. If you haven't watched my video on how to roll and crimp your pie crust, be sure to check that out. I like to chill my pie crust before I blind bake. I find that it helps with keeping the pie crust from shrinking down into the pie plate. To start, I'm just going to take a large piece of parchment paper, and I like to crumple it up to help it fit more snugly into the pie crust. Just go ahead and tuck your parchment paper, or you can use tin foil so it fits against the edges of your pie crust, and then you're going to fill it with your pie weights. I am using some dried rice and beans. I have been using these again and again. They're reusable. I just keep them here in a container. If you don't have these, you can also use store-bought pie weights, but you'll need about 4 containers, so they're not cheap. These are obviously a lot cheaper. I can use them again and again. You can also use just granulated sugar. You can use even coins, but what you need to make sure is that you have enough to fill right up to the top of your pie crust. Don't fill it up all the way. You're going to find that your pie crust will shrink in your pie plate while it bakes. So you just want to make sure to then spread them out evenly all the way to the edges of your pie crust. Now at this point, it's ready to go into the oven. So we'll go ahead and throw this into our oven, 375 degrees for 15 minutes. So my oven has been in the pie, let's try that again. My pie has been in the oven for 15 minutes. At this point, you want to remove the parchment and your pie weights. At this point, we're going to use a fork and dock the pie crust. This is going to ensure that our pie crust doesn't bubble up in the oven. So you want to dock the sides of the pie crust and the bottom. Now you can return the pie crust to the oven to continue baking. For a partially baked pie crust that's going to return to the oven with a filling, you'll want to bake for about 7 to 8 minutes more, like if you're making a pumpkin pie or a quiche. For a fully baked pie crust that you'll be using for a no-bake pie, bake for an additional 15 minutes until golden brown. Here is my partially baked pie crust. It would be ready for something like a quiche or pumpkin pie. If you find that your crust is starting to bubble up while it's baking, just simply remove it and dock it a little bit more to help the pie crust settle back into the pie plate. And here is my finished crust that has been blind baked. If you enjoyed this pie crust tutorial, be sure to check out the rest of my videos in this pie crust series. And until next time, happy baking.